and welcome to another edition of the That is Censored, and that is a Sinkhole. Censored versus Sinkhole video from our enthralled channel. Let me shrink the gray wall. Let me shrink that even more. There we go, and this vulgarity-free section brought to you by our patrons. I am so primed for this. Let's talk about all kinds of things like the biggest scam on earth, aka Google. If you're looking for verbs or biased search results, Google is the place not to be for verbs and to be for biased search results. Now, if anybody should be accused of interfering with the election in 2016, that's the US presidential election, that would be Google, as they did spend $34 million on the Hillary Clinton campaign. Ask Eric Schmidt. He will back me up on this. And also, Eric Schmidt was talking about shadow banning search results in 2011. Are you still using this junkware as your search engine? Guess what? The Euros are cracking down. And Google's thumbnails and web search yada yada yadas are going to have to start crediting, actually paying actual money to the sources. And they're not fans of this at all. And guess what they're going to do? What they're going to do is they're going to, instead of paying the content creators, folks such as me, instead of putting a thumbnail of this video up, Google will instead, check this out, remove all the graphics and just only have text. So we're going to have to start getting creative with our descriptions, shall we? Anyway, let's hope it affects Google's business model, as they are a company that should voluntarily break into little pieces so that it is able to get out of its own way, instead of continuing to try to break the internet and failing so hard. So hard. Oh yeah, Google. Yep, it's going to start to look like crap in Europe, and it hasn't looked like crap here on my PC since 2012 when I stopped using the search engine, because that was when I figured out about shadow bans and the fact that Google will shake you down for money. If you have a website, they will give you a call and say, hey, that's a nice website you got there. It'd be a shame if it didn't show up on search results, wouldn't it there? So just pay us $350 this time, and we'll make sure you show up on the search results. See? That's Google. Do you have anti-Soviet thoughts? Are you guilty? Are you guilty of thought crimes? Have you been depersoned? Are you Alex Jones's neighbor? Well, guess what? Big tech claims it isn't silencing skeptics, dissenters, and critics of the status quo. Oh, excuse me. Oh, man. Let's try that again. This just in. Breaking news. Big tech claims it isn't silencing skeptics, dissenters, and critics of the status quo. Is Google silencing you? Is Facebook and Twitter and YouTube shadow banning your stuff? Is it impossible to see your informative videos? Are you a channel that's monetized and gets paid absolutely nothing for making videos? Anyway, links to this article as well as the other two, and actually more than two, as well as the other however many we're going to cover, shall be in the description. We're going to go over some technical stuff in a minute, so don't go anywhere. Let's talk about Goop. Let's talk about Goop, baby. Let's talk about Gwyneth P. Favorite quote so far from Gwyneth is, and I quote, "Sometimes Harvey Weinstein will let me use the Miramax jet if I'm opening a supermarket for him." Let that one sink in, folks. Have you purchased crystalline egg devices to place in certain choice body orifices such as to increase your aggression, get a little egg made of tiger eye, or to increase your psychic powers, got a little egg of amethyst and stick that in a place to. Or what about a drinking straw? Anyway, let me get on to the point of this. We don't want to make the video too long, as people have about a 4-second attention span. If you're not familiar with this channel, Jontron, all right, check it out. Jontron show. Jontron show. Get to subscribing to this channel. He doesn't need your help. He has 5.68 million subs. His video, one day old, has 2.2 million views, and it deserves it. Here's a clip. Brace yourself, because you need to watch. It's 17.5 minutes long, folks. It's worth every second of it. Let's play the first couple seconds.
Psychic vampire repellent.
Yes, that is a bottle of oil with some rocks in it. And apparently love is on the ingredients also. Let me play another clip, as I know exactly where to be. I know where to be, because let's hear another quote directly from Gwyneth, read by Jontron, who, again, I can't stress this enough, is fantastic.
Who I am. I can't pretend to be someone who makes $25,000 a year.
It's all Gwyneth quotes. So yeah, check out, I don't know if it's goop.com, but if you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. We do make daily space weather videos here. Also, let's talk about the theory of why Machu Picchu is where Machu Picchu is. It's the simplest explanation you ever heard in your life. I mean, I'm not going to read the article or read an excerpt or anything like that. I'm just going to say that it's because we're a bunch of broken, fractured rocks were due to plate boundaries. It looks just like a photo that you can click on. See the way that you got the thumb, whatever. Anyway, the implication is that they're starting with already fractured substrates in order to make these utterly perfect structures that have no gaps between them, that couldn't even easily be constructed today in 2019. Links in the description to that also. Next, we're going to look at cryptocurrency, which has taken a massive hit. First, we're going to look at Bitcoin on the Coinbase exchange, which is down below $8,000. A massive hit coming in here just over the past couple of days. There you can see the 1-year chart. Let me bring up the 1-month chart. Look at the precipitous decline. So Peter Schiff was right again, folks. Peter Schiff was right again. Now don't get mad. Let's look at the Coinbase Ethereum quote also. Here's the 1 year of Ethereum. It got hit, not quite as bad overall because it was not as overinflated in the first place. This is the second most popular cryptocurrency. This is the one associated with writing computer software and being on Minds.com, for instance. Here's the 1-month chart, and geez, talk about a ski slope. Looks like it's finally leveling off. Let's look at some more stuff. Now, we're not going to talk about inverted bond yield curves, although there are inverted bond yield curves currently going on, which is not a good sign. Well, I won't get into the technicals, but the US dollar is up against most other world currencies, and it still is. Do you know why that is? Well, I'll explain it in a quick nutshell. It's because the US economy is bad, but not as bad as all the other safe havens. In other words, the euro, the Japanese yen, and so on. They're worse. They're worse. Now, let's look at things that are better. Silver's down a whopping 17 cents today. Looks like a buying opportunity to me. Here's the 1-year chart. Now, keep in mind, this goes to 50 bucks an ounce when it's in extreme demand like it was at the last financial crisis. And I don't know what that's doing. Let me just go back to gold, show you the gold chart real quick. Now, oil is not going up in price because despite sabotage and attempts to create a supply-demand crisis, the U.S. is currently the largest exporter of oil in the world. So while Saudi Arabia will take 6 or 8 months to rebuild their damaged facilities, and that actually has a significantly measurable effect on the global oil supply, guess who's there to take up the slack? That's right, the United States. So in any case, there's the current. We're on gold for some reason. Here's the current state of affairs with oil. And keep in mind, oil is priced in US dollars. Oh, yeah. Here's a 1-year chart of the NASDAQ, which is a massively overinflated bubble containing a bunch of junk, such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Apple. Lastly, here's the S&P 500, which is an index of the 500 largest stocks in the US. Also a massively inflated bubble. So be prepared for it, for the air to come out of it, especially with what we see in precious metals. Try to leverage yourself accordingly if possible. How about a little stuff about triplet black holes? I don't know what to expect here. I'm just going to press play and pick a random spot in the video and press mute. Anyway, there's a new triplet black hole story in the news, and these models are all based on gravity being the main force governing their intergalactic maneuvers. As cosmology is a subject we cover on the channel regularly for you non-astrophysics nerd type viewers. Anyway, the Chandra X-ray Observatory plus some other observatories have all combined a lot of images and have gotten an interesting series of tales and so on going on here with these black holes. And these are galaxies, really. These are active galactic nuclei. And as that has been a subject of great interest lately with what would you call us? Cutting edge astronomers? People who actually understand the actual physics? Perhaps? Anyway, links to this article also below the video. Check it out. And thanks, smAsho team. There is a bonus section coming. We're going to delve deep into human stupidity. First of all, pro driving tip. Now, I'm your pro driver, and I believe that burn mark there is where people died. So let me just do a pro driving tip. Don't drive so fast that you crash and die in a fiery wreck in a 55-mile-per-hour speed limit zone in the median between the north and southbound lanes of Route 378 in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. That is a bad result for your driving. What you want to do is have a checklist, and you should only do the things on the side of the checklist that make you safer. All the things on the side that make you less safe, you shouldn't do those. That's the ultimate pro driving tip here. Being stated right at 1337. Oh man, what a coincidence. It must just be divine providence. Oh right, it is divine providence. Don't crash. Great tip. Let's go to CNN, the climate nonsense / communist news network, and we're going to talk about Trump, Dems, critics, cover-up, allegation, bombshell, complaint, Lewandowski, DOJ, analysis, fact, complaint, watchdog, spy. Oh my gosh, spy cheat. I'm just kidding. We're not going to cover anything from CNN at all. And we're also not going to leave links. But we'll cover this story on WFMZ.com. Guess what happened in Whitehall? Some idiot broke into a house with some teenage girls, and he started pawing at their shirts and telling them to take their clothes off. And then he pulled his pants down and told them to touch them. And then he said he's going to kill him before he leaves the house. And then he fled. Which is why police are on the lookout for a silver Chevy Impala with a large dent on the passenger side. So yeah, that's what's going on in Whitehall. Burglar walks into home, exposes himself to teens. How's that for a story? And this is why it's not cool to be at home unarmed. Let's talk about eating the rich, as there's a lot of socialism is just a really common subject nowadays. You know, it's super popular. And anyway, the point is, read this article about Eat the Rich, and then better yet, watch this video. Courtesy of Bill Whittle, he's going to talk about how if we confiscated all of the cash on hand, actually the entire assets of both companies, ExxonMobil and Walmart, let's see how long this would run our slightly bloated government.
Take every penny of their combined 2010 global profits. That's $34 billion. Spending all of their money gets us from midnight on January 1st until 9:52 a.m. on January 4th.
That's how much our government spends. Were you aware? If you want to see the state of affairs of spending in the U.S., check out the U.S. national debt clock, currently at $22,626 billion. It's usdebtclock.org. How could you go wrong? Let's refer you to another video, since we typically only talk about science and not so much economics. Let's talk about Bill Nye. Now, this is another Bill Whittle video. I think you'll like this one, so check this one out too. We'll link both of these videos in the description. Let's talk about Bill Nye the Science Guy and his show that recently came out. I think this is, you're going to watch this episode. You're going to want to watch this episode of Bill Nye the Science Guy at least. And one thing I would note also is that Bill has earned the global warming badge of honor. Now, I've had it, David Dubine's had it, Christian Westbrook's had it, etc. Let's play a clip.
On Netflix, it's worth a little watch. So here's Bill Nye, the Science Guy, presenting some science by Bill Nye.
Oh yeah.
Cause my sex junk is so much more than either.
Because her sex junk is so much more than either or. All right, enough of that crap. Let's look at some cosmic ray flux and then get out of here, because this video is getting long. Here's the opacity neutron monitor, and we've seen a spike in the past 12 hours. Barentsburg does not show the same spike. And now we're at the Athens neutron monitor. Athens, Greece. This one's showing a similar spike in the past 12 hours. Pretty high levels and some anomalous missing data there between the 21st and 24th. And here's Mexico City. Fairly high levels there, not quite as high as around the 23rd to 24th. Here's Moscow. Are you aware of the human health effects of cosmic ray flux? Look it up. If you're viewing this video, you probably have access to the internet. Anyway, it's a known thing that cosmic ray flux has an effect on human health, much less the climate. But let's not worry about that, should we, Governor? Let's look at Oulu's neutron monitor, and it's currently spiked right at this exact moment the video is being made. And let's look at DOMC Antarctica, and there's DOMB Antarctica, and your bonus section is already completed. So thanks again, Smash team, and thanks patrons for being associate producers of the show. And we are out, and we'll be viewing the premiere live, so we hope you left a comment, but if you didn't, leave a comment anyway. Even if you missed the live chat, check the links in the description, and we'll see you tomorrow when it's dark.